The Ethiopian ambassador to the United Kingdom, His Excellency Haile Michael Afewerk Abera, and 7 Ethiopian embassy staff visited Scotland in early March. This was His Excellency's first official visit to Scotland since becoming ambassador in 2016. The 3-day visit involved meeting Scotland's Minister for Europe and International Development and visiting a number of Scottish universities to discuss collaborations in research, university administration and quality assurance. The ambassador also met with the Scottish business community and members of the diaspora. The visit was organised by Professor John Struthers, Ethiopia's Honorary Consul in Scotland. John is Director of the Centre for African Research on Enterprise and Economic Development at the University of the West of Scotland. An economist, he has carried out research on Ethiopian coffee prices. First up was Glasgow University, the 4th oldest in the English-speaking world, where geologists Professor Stuart Boyce and Dr. Neil Burnside gave an update on the geothermal energy project they are working on with local people at Fantale in southwest Ethiopia.
We can bring the chemistry of the fluids and pull apart the different reservoirs of water that feed into these systems to allow us to understand the hydrogeological flow into the area. And if you know the forensic landscape or waterscape underneath the ground, it really helps you feed into the sort of maximisation of the potential of your geothermal energy. We all know that it's an incredible place for geothermal energy. There's superb potential in the area, but if you don't know what it is you're tapping, you run risks of failure, catastrophic failure. You run risks of impacting on local people's hydrogeological understanding of their resources as well. So we pull apart in detail using chemistry and isotope geochemistry the understanding of the different flow patterns going into any particular reservoir. Is it magmatic fluids? Is it lake waters? Is it groundwaters that have been lying there for a million years? So we can date the waters, we can actually characterise them very carefully with our geochemistry. And that is a new kind of twist to this geothermal tale, that we can bring that connection between hydrogeology and geothermal engineering.
The development of geothermal offers alternatives to wood fuel gathering and frees up women in particular. The ambassador stressed that green energy is a top priority, and the Glasgow University team said Ethiopia has fantastic resources, geothermal potential and energetic young people. The ambassador highlighted the ongoing potential for geothermal in Ethiopia and said he would like to encourage links between Scottish universities and Ethiopia's now 33 universities, with more on the way. Glasgow University Principal Professor Anton Muscatelli encouraged Ethiopians to study at Glasgow University. Glasgow and Addis Ababa universities have shared links in veterinary medicine in the past. Professor of Geology John Briggs said research in Africa is about capacity strengthening and leaving a legacy. Glasgow University's considerable strengths are in medicine, including veterinary medicine, and engineering and science, which are high priorities for Ethiopian universities. The ambassador explained that some Ethiopian universities are young and need training and curriculum development, and more links between universities and industry to create more jobs for young graduates. The university said further geothermal projects are possible further north and up and down the country. Flower growing will be facilitated through geothermal development. The team aims to go back to Ethiopia in June. The ambassador concluded by listing Ethiopia's green energy potential in hydro, wind and solar, and said Ethiopia will be an energy hub not just for the Horn, but for East Africa and beyond. Next up was a meeting with senior staff at the Scottish Chamber of Commerce, the oldest chamber in the English-speaking world, where the discussion identified the key growth sectors of the Ethiopian economy, which were outlined in a PowerPoint presentation by Tera Fadida, head of the embassy's investment and trade section. These included infrastructure, textiles, and power supply. Chamber staff expressed strong interest on behalf of their 1,200 members. A future visit could take the form of a one-day trade and investment forum in Glasgow. The ambassador stressed that Ethiopia's 100 million population offered a huge market for investors, and that Marks & Spencers are already importing from Ethiopia, and UK leather specialists, Pittards, are producing top-quality leather products such as gloves. Brexit was mentioned, and the Chamber is keen to look outwards and is working with the Scottish Government to establish more links with other parts of the world, and with Africa in particular. Ethiopia is an ideal trade hub because of its geography, and its textiles and leather industries are strong, Gary said. Hydroenergy production is well established in Scotland and goes back to the 1920s, and the Chamber supports strong engineering expertise in energy. The delegation then headed over to the historic town of Paisley, which once manufactured 80% of the world's cotton thread, evident in the names of the streets, such as Cotton Street. Paisley is home to the University of the West of Scotland, where the ambassador met senior staff. Areas identified for collaboration included economics, health and sport, the STEM subjects, entrepreneurship, and university quality assurance systems, and Train the Trainers programs, which are vital to the rapidly expanding university sector in Ethiopia. The ambassador stressed that a lot has been done to encourage women to go to university. The Civil Service University created female-only lecturer adverts, and in the first year took 18 women, then the same the following year. So positive discrimination works. Women's associations also encourage women to participate at all levels. Ethiopia is building an extensive railway system, so this would be a strong contender for cooperation, along with geothermal, textiles, garments, and energy management and production. The two sides agreed to identify areas and meet again and proceed to project development. UWS said it wanted Ethiopia to be a destination country and suggested summer schools so UWS students can go to Ethiopia for international experience. After a visit to the studio of the Queen's sculptor, Professor Sandy Stoddart, on the UWS campus in Paisley, the delegation visited the ancient Paisley Abbey. At a special dinner with senior UWS staff, including Vice-Chancellor Professor Craig Mahoney, who warmly welcomed the delegation, the ambassador thanked the university for its keenness to engage with Ethiopia in partnerships. The next day, the delegation visited Link Community Development, an organisation in Edinburgh who work with the Ethiopian Ministry of Education and district education offices to deliver girls' education in Ethiopia. The project helped take 62,000 girls through rural education in the Walaita zone's 123 primary schools. The girls exceeded reading targets by 300% with raised confidence and falling dropout rates. There was also an increase in science among the girls. Link has attracted an additional substantial funding to continue and expand the project for the next 8 years. On a visit to Edinburgh University, the delegation heard that it has had links with many African countries since the 19th century and has academic strengths across a very large range of disciplines. The discussion focused on the possibility of Ethiopian students being able to participate in the university's recently launched Mastercard Foundation African Scholars Project, which will fund up to 200 young African scholars over the next 7 years, principally in the STEM subjects. Glasgow University has recently been recognised as a partner university with the Mastercard Foundation in association with Queen's University Canada. Derek MacLeod, Regional Director for Africa, said the foundation programme had been set up by former PM Gordon Brown, an Edinburgh University alumnus. It has 33 African country students, 40% undergraduates and 60% postgraduates. Edinburgh is keen to develop links with African countries, especially in the fields of leadership or contributing to civil society and entrepreneurialism. Students study engineering and the skills necessary for their future employment. Ethiopia has a long association with Edinburgh as one of its graduates, Professor Asrat Waldeus, was the personal doctor of our late emperor. Dr. Asrat's life will be the subject of an upcoming alumni exhibition. It was generally agreed that Brexit has been good for Africa, as it is now a focal point for Scottish universities, and Edinburgh is creating an Africa group. On leaving the university, the delegation headed for St Andrew's House, the Scottish Government buildings, where they met Alistair Allen, Minister for Europe and International Development. There was a wide-ranging discussion with the Minister aimed at raising awareness in Scotland regarding ongoing collaboration with Ethiopia across the university and business sectors. The Minister noted Ethiopia's green energy projects as a potential collaboration, as Scotland is strong in wind power. The ambassador said there are already a few wind farms built by the French, but many more are needed. We want to become an energy hub. We already send electricity to Kenya, Djibouti and Sudan. Other priorities are irrigation and provision of clean water, attracting tourists, and textiles and leather. British companies are already invested in textiles and foods. Manufacturing is export-oriented, and Ethiopia is well situated for the Middle East and Europe. Industrial parks and agro-processing parks are being built in all regions. Germany and Italy and others are supporting their businesses to invest. We'd like Scotland to do the same, the ambassador said. Dr. Allen said we need to increase awareness of what Ethiopia has to offer. On tourism, the ambassador spoke of Ethiopia's new branding as the land of origins and the cradle of mankind, and more recent history, including the renowned Scottish explorer James Bruce, who explored the Nile and lived in Ethiopia for 10 years. For some time in a monastery in Gondar. The minister later tweeted about this historic link. The delegation then visited Africa House and gave a presentation to Africa Forum Scotland, an African-led organisation whose mission is to encourage trade and investment opportunities across the African continent and to assist the large and growing African, including Ethiopian, community in Scotland within the labour market, especially among the graduate population. They also undertake trade and investment missions to African countries and may undertake such a mission in Ethiopia. The delegation were greeted by the CEO, Mr. Beltus Etchu, and 35 people, including a number of companies, attended the workshop, in which green energy was a popular topic.
I firmly believe in ethical business, anti-corruption business, and delivering sustainable transformation for Africa. Not change, because change is reversible. Transformation, permanent.
On the 7th of March, the delegation met about 40 members of the Ethiopian diaspora, which focused mainly on potential investment opportunities in Ethiopia for the diaspora. At the Scottish Council of Development and Industry, established in 1931, the ambassador spoke of the many opportunities Ethiopia offers Scottish businesses. The Director of Commercial Operations, Vince McEwen, assured the delegation that the Council can highlight Ethiopia's investment potential across the business community and would help identify the relevant companies such as green energy and agro-industries. The Council also works with the public sector and agencies. Civil engineering is a key need in Ethiopia. The ambassador urged the Council to support a trip for business people to Ethiopia and a workshop with Scottish Development International, the Scottish Government international trade arm. The ambassador concluded by encouraging Scotland to invest in higher education and energy production in research-led joint ventures. The visit concluded on the 8th of March, and the Honorary Consul spoke of the success of the mission and the determination to maintain and increase cooperation between Scotland and Ethiopia.
This has been a wonderful visit of 3 days to Scotland. Very busy 3 days. We've been visiting at least 3 Scottish universities. We have visited the Chamber of Commerce here, Scottish Chamber of Commerce, which is reckoned to be the oldest English-speaking Chamber of Commerce in the world. We've also been interviewed by companies and organisations that promote trade with Africa. And we've also met the diaspora, the Ethiopian diaspora here in Glasgow, in Scotland. So from this visit, we very much hope that this will stimulate trade and investment links between Scotland and Ethiopia, as well as educational exchanges between universities in Ethiopia and those in Scotland. And we're very much looking forward to continuing the collaboration between Scotland and Ethiopia, and I want to play my part as the Honorary Consul for Ethiopia in that process.
We realized that not much was known about Ethiopia in this part of the United Kingdom. So we can say that the business community are now aware through their chambers, which we think will also spread to the other business people. We have also discussed with universities regarding the creation of partnerships between Ethiopian universities and universities in Scotland. And they are very happy to work with Ethiopian universities to conduct joint research projects, and also with the research projects working with business firms and companies to leading to investment. And with the diaspora, Ethiopian diaspora, we have had some 2.5 hours of discussion, so that the diaspora also is aware of what is going on in the country and getting true information about what's happening on the ground in Ethiopia. They were all very happy about the development in our country, and they have expressed their readiness to support in relation to transfer of knowledge, skill and technology, and for this to organize themselves in an association and strengthen the association they have. Some of them have also expressed interest in investing in Ethiopia.